This is Module 6, Lesson 1. We're talking about hiring and training the right staff. And, I think this is the most important thing because you can only do so much within a practice.
That's right. If you're trying to grow or you expect to grow, you have to have people to help you do it. With the time of putting on the Superman cape and trying to do it all, it's over.
Yeah, you can't be answering the phone and working on someone's brackets and all of that. So why is it important to know your strengths as the doctor so you know who to hire?
Yeah, so you got to know what you're good at, right? But you also have to know your weaknesses, and you have to be true to yourself when you're asking, what are my weaknesses? I'll tell you a good person to ask, but you have to be ready for it. Ask your spouse. Right? They'll tell you your weaknesses, and they'll be very frank about it. And the cool thing is, once you know your weaknesses, then you can hire people that can kind of prop you up. They'll have those as their strengths, and it makes you a great person.
So if you're looking for, let's say, a rock star, a thoroughbred, if you want to be a part of the orthodontic team, like what are some things that when you're trying to hire somebody that just sticks out, you're like, I need that person?
I hire for personality, right? All the other things you can kind of train. They're things that are important to me are, can you follow directions and how do you treat people, right? It's not how you treat me, it's how you treat people that maybe are strangers. Because I find that a lot of times people can treat their boss or their friends in this really high regard, but then when it comes down to maybe someone who is, less than or whatever it may be.
They might look different or whatever.
It's just that they treat them awkwardly. I don't like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hiring people that are good people, that treat people well, no matter who they are, and then we can hire or train for everything else.
So let's say we know what we're looking for. Where do we start looking?
Right now it's easy, right? So you can look with Indeed, you can do LinkedIn, you can find all of these digital kind of platforms that will help. Dental Post is a great one. But really, I think that the thing is, if you can start to build a network with some of the schools, that's a really good place. So you can get somebody that may be a little bit more raw with their skills, but has the ability to grow with your practice.
So let's say, starting out, you have nobody, you're going there. But once you start building a team up a little bit, how does referrals, getting people referring their friends, like people that they know that will crush it, how do you go about that?
Again, it's just the referral thing, right? Those are the best ones because they already know what your culture is, right? They're already telling this person that, hey, this place is awesome to work at. You know that they're going to refer someone, they're going to hold that person accountable, but they're also going to have this level of ownership in this person that they bring along too. So I really, really like referrals. I
know you do this interesting thing with your process of getting someone in. You asked for a video. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is something that I came up with a couple of years ago because we were getting a ton of applicants, but they weren't serious in my mind. They didn't really want to put in the effort. So I was tired of these people that were coming in that weren't serious about taking this job. So what I did is I asked them for a video, right? A selfie video. And all I did was ask what your favorite season of the year is, what your favorite genre is, and then what is your favorite product that you're currently using. It can be anything. And then tell me why. What that does is, one, it shows initiative, that they feel comfortable enough to communicate, and they can do it any way they want, right? It also shows if they're creative. It also shows if they can carry a conversation, and then it also lets me know if they're confident enough to sell something that they're passionate about, right? And that new product is whatever they're passionate about. And so a lot of times you will see people's true colors whenever they talk about something that they're passionate about. And so if I can get those things, then I feel comfortable with bringing them into my practice. And if they're passionate about my practice, guess what? They'll sell it as well.
They're already selling the things that they like.
That's right.
If they like your practice, it's just going to help even more. So what are some questions that you would ask within an interview that would help you determine what kind of person that you're in front of?
Yeah, so you got to ask behavioral questions, right? You got to ask questions that put them in a situation like, let's say if you're in this situation with a mom and it was a very stressful situation, how would you handle it, right? You want to know how they would act, or at least their thought process, right? And the more that you know about them and how they're going to respond to stressful situations, the better you'll know if they're a good fit for the team.
Have you ever done like a working interview? How does that go?
Yeah, so when it's a clinical-based person, we like them to come on kind of a working interview, right? So either that shows their skill level, or they can see how we do things to see if in their mind that makes sense to them, right? You have to be careful because you want to know what they can do, but you also want to be able to train them in the way that you want them trained, right? You want them to do it your way. And sometimes people talk like they're really good at doing stuff, but then when the rubber hits the road, it's a little unique. So you want to make sure you call their bluff if that is the case, right? You don't want to waste time. You know, what is it like? Quick to hire? No.
Slow to hire.
Slow to hire, quick to fire. Yeah, that's it. But so you kind of want to have that mentality.
Thinking about that, knowing where people are once you hire them already, what are some of the first things that you train once they start?
Yeah, so you have to have a very strategic way of training. And this is something that when you first start off, you hire people and you train them, you're like, just follow me around. But the reality of it is you have to have something that is consistent and repeatable, right? And what I hate to hear is whenever one of your teammates says, oh, she can only do that because she's the best at it. Well, if you train someone, they should be able to do it as good as the best person if you're training them right? So consistent and strategic training is absolutely essential. You need to start with basics, stuff that's basic that aligns with your culture and your mentality. Right? Once you do that, then everything else kind of can follow in line.
Yeah, it goes back to that unique value proposition. When your training is taking that and putting it in every area of the practice, it's going to run like a well-oiled machine. So, how does mentorship work within your practice for new hires?
Yeah, I like to partner somebody that's a new hire up with someone who's been around a while, right? Who's been through difficult times with me. I think, again, I said this earlier, difficult times make a bigger bond or a stronger bond. And once they feel like they have ownership into the practice, they're able to kind of direct that new hire into our culture and make them adapt to us.
One thing that I know you love doing is spot checks. How can spot checks hold the teammate accountable, but also empower them to be successful in the long run?
So when we first hire someone, we have a 30, 60, 90-day review with them. And the idea is not to embarrass them or anything other than give them feedback on what our expectations are. Life is about managing expectations. And if you tell people what you want and how you want them to do it, a lot of times they have the ability or have the desire to, fulfill that. And so by us giving these periodic but very strategic feedback times, we found that it's very successful for us.
Because you need to have things where you're measuring, you're being, that honest but humble kind of deal. And they know hey, I'm going to be called on this. I'm going to be checked up on this. And it allows them to flourish because they're not going, oh, well, I have to do this. And no, it's laid out. These are the things you're expected to do. And that's going to be a huge boon for the practice because everybody's going to know their role and their responsibilities. Let's talk about why you shouldn't rush to hire someone.
Yeah, I think that can really kill the morale of the whole group. If you get a bad apple and you leave a bad apple in there too long, it's going to spoil the whole lot, right? And I've kind of done that through experience. I've had some people that I've hired that just to fill a spot, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great, and we knew it wasn't great really early on, and it took us a little bit of time to get through the whole process, but once we removed that person, the morale grew again, and it was awesome. So you want to be very strategic with your hiring. You want to hire the right people for personality, and you can train them to work in your team.
Yeah, and I think it goes to don't be in such a rush to get them into a position where they do bad work. So you could hire a rock star, but you don't train them, and you're getting the same results as you would have hired somebody that just sucks.
Yep.
So it's like knowing that, going into that, and it's like, yeah, you might have to ask other team members to kind of pull up the slack for a little bit. You might have to get in there and do a little bit more until that person is ready to fully take over.
Building the correct team is more important than just getting the position filled.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That is lesson 1 of module 6. We'll see you in the next one.